I just want to do a small video, mostly for the South Africans that have recently joined this page. I've noticed we've increased by about 14,000 likes to the page within the last week, and mostly due to that video that we put, the previous one to this. Now, I think as much as we as Zimbabweans have overstayed our welcome, I need South Africans to understand what the regime back home in Zimbabwe does. So I'm going to give a few random examples of how things happen in Zimbabwe, and I'm going to say it in English so that everybody can understand what we are fighting against. Personally, I left in 2003, 2004, when all the plumbing, we couldn't get supplies, we couldn't get pipes, geysers, we couldn't get materials, customers were gone. The Reserve Bank governor took 3 zeros off of your bank account. I don't know if South Africans quite understand that. Imagine going to bed tonight and you have 1,000 rand in your account, and tomorrow morning you wake up and you've got 1 rand in your account or 100 rand in your account. Imagine, just think about that. Today, your 1,000 rand can buy a car today. Tomorrow, it can buy 4 tires on the car. By Friday, it can buy you a Coke and a loaf of bread. That is how the economy went in Zimbabwe. Imagine going on in South Africa and the ANC comes to your tuck shop or to your business and says, listen, for you to operate here, you must pay us 100 rand a month. Otherwise, you're not going to operate here. Can you imagine that happening? How do we even begin to justify what happens in Zimbabwe? When you go to a hospital in Zimbabwe and there is no doctor, no nurse, and if there is a doctor and a nurse, there's no medication. Imagine going to a clinic and being told that you must bring your own gloves, your own bandage, your own ointment, your own panado, and your own drip. You must bring it to the clinic. That's what happens in Zimbabwe. There are roads that haven't been repaired, potholes everywhere. We have a situation of plus minus 90% unemployment. Now, these are just economic factors. These are things that, everyday life, electricity, no water. Water comes on 2-3 hours a day. These are just normal things. Now, there's a lot of Zimbabweans that want to paint a different picture. You can go on social media and you can see Zimbabweans at Victoria Falls. You can see them at all these fancy hotels. They're driving nice cars. They're going to hotels and having dinner and lunches and stuff. Yes, that happens. But that is for less than 5% of the population. Those people's lives are wonderful and well done to them. But the vast majority of Zimbabweans are suffering. And to anyone who says that Zimbabwe is normal or up and coming, let me just inform you that up to 25% of Zimbabwe's population is in economic exile. 25%. Now, let me just put that roughly in South African terms. 60 million people, 2.5 times 6, 2 times 12, 34, 14, 15 million South Africans left South Africa today and went to work menial jobs in the 4 countries that surround us. What do you think that is an indication of? A successful economy? An economy that's working for everyone? A place that everyone has hope? Do you really think that 25% of Zimbabweans would rather go and live in a mkuku? Because my Zimbabweans, we have built homes, kumusha kwedu, brick homes. Water, borehole, electricity, solar panels, they're there. But there's just no jobs and the economy is broken. So a country where 25% of the workforce leaves is not a functional country. It's not a good country. It's not a country that the leadership should be proud of. It's not a country that you should be sharing pictures of you picnicking at Borrowdale Brook with your $1,200 wine and stuff like that. That's not the country where you should be doing shit like that. So those people who try and bring out this false narrative of Zimbabwe, it's a narrative of their lifestyle. How they achieve that, whatever the case is, it's up to them, well done to them. But the majority of Zimbabweans do not have more than $2 to $3 a day to survive on. That's a fact. Now, those are, again, economic principles. Do you know that if I released these videos in Zimbabwe, now bear in mind this is a Facebook video. If I released or if I was in Zimbabwe doing this, I would be arrested. There is a patriotic act in Zimbabwe where if you say something bad against the president, you get arrested. Imagine. If that law was in South Africa, the whole EFF leadership would be in jail by now. Imagine that. That's what happens in Zimbabwe. There are people, activists, who have spoken up against the government that have been disappeared. Their families don't know where they are. There's 8 to 10 well-known ones and then hundreds of unknown ones. Do you know what the excuse is when you go to a police station to ask where your beloved one is? They say that that beloved person has gone to South Africa, found himself another wife, and just hasn't come back yet. Imagine being told that, knowing that your loved one was killed because they had an opposing political view. That's what happens in Zimbabwe. If you have a business that is visible and you are against the regime, that business will not be operational for long. I've had people who've had their whole homestead burnt to the ground. Chickens, dogs, horses, cats, cows, whatever livestock you have, gone. Completely and utterly gone. Because you support something other than the ruling party. Maize, fertilizer, dipping your cattle in the rural areas. If you do not belong or support the ruling party, you do not have access to those things. There is a district governor, DA, district administrator, in every single rural district appointed by the president. He is in charge of the entire constituency development fund. So if you are not a regime supporter in a rural constituency, you will starve to death. You will get zero assistance. Half of that country, called Zimbabwe, relies and is fed by those 4 million people that are in economic exile. If those 4 million people in economic exile did not send money home, half of Zimbabwe would starve to death. The regime hunts people down. They will come to your house. They will come to your place where you work. They will come to your business. They will arrest you. You will go into the back of a police van in handcuffs. You will go to court 2 weeks from then. It will be postponed. You will then go to a court again. It will be held in remand. It will be postponed for 2 months. All this time, you will be in jail. You won't go to work. You won't afford business. You won't afford food. Your family's got no breadwinner. You have nothing. And need I try and explain what the conditions of Zimbabwean prisons are? Zimbabwean prisons make South African prisons look like a holiday. Keep that in mind. Then after 1.5 years of being in jail because you're an opposition activist, They then say, oh no, case is dismissed. No evidence. That is what happens in Zimbabwe. If you are a foreigner who wants to invest in Zimbabwe, there's been a world-renowned fishing camp that's been around for decades that was invaded by a regime supporter, taken over, foreign guests cancelled, the whole place taken. There are farms being invaded now. Pieces of land that were previously given to peasants has been taken back with those people being forcibly removed. You can lose your business at any minute in Zimbabwe. The rule of law is done and dusted, broken, completely tattered in pieces. The law is the barrel of a gun controlled by the regime. The police is a barrel of the gun controlled by the regime. If you go and report that you were beaten by regime members at the police station, you are arrested. Let that sink in again. You, the victim, are arrested at the police station in Zimbabwe for reporting that you were beaten. If you are an investor, the only investors that are in Zimbabwe are people that have protection from the generals, the army, the police, or the political elite. That's it. There is no big business in Zimbabwe that is operational without giving the regime something. A percentage of profits. One of the regime's members is on the board. Something, somewhere, somehow is controlled by the regime. So if you want to go and do business in Zimbabwe, you need two things. One, you need to not give a shit about how much people suffer. You need to drive past the suffering every single day and ignore it, if you can do that. That's one. And number two, you better be paying somebody off. Because if you don't do that, you will get your shit taken. Now, who wants to operate in such an environment? Only gangsters, looters, and thieves can operate in that environment. Only somebody who realizes, listen, I've got 20 million. So if I take 5 million to Zimbabwe, because it's so corrupt and because it's so bad, I can triple that money in like 2 years. And I can't do that anywhere else on this planet. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to risk my 5 million. If it gets taken, I've lost 5 million. I've got 15 left. But if I don't, and I manage to bribe the right people and do the right things, my 5 million turns into 20 million in 2 years, and I double my fortune. Those are the kind of investors that you have in Zimbabwe. You don't have the normal oak who's the right to make 10 or 15% on his money every year. No. It's not worth it. That's Zimbabwe. So I want everybody to understand where Zimbabweans have come from. What we have to put up with is not normal. This is not normal. You cannot go and open a political party in Zimbabwe and just campaign. You will be stopped to campaign. You cannot meet and do your political things. You can't do that. It's not allowed. These are things that are facts in Zimbabwe. So before you say, makwere kwere, dzokai kumba, yeah, abahambe, what, just realize what we are going through and what we are doing. And what also must be stated categorically is that the whole southern region leadership, barring probably Botswana, have supported the Zimbabwean regime on many occasions. The South African government supports the Zimbabwe regime. They pretend like none of this is happening. Just a few months or a couple of weeks ago, the South African president met with the top 3 gangsters in Zimbabwe without even knowing it. These are facts. These are things that need to be spoken about. This is what Zimbabwe is up against. Yes, it's South Africa. Yes, it's your country. Yes, we have overstayed. But please, understand where we are coming from. Understand what we are up against. If you help us, we will leave gladly. We are not forcing you to help us. We're asking as neighbors. Just like you asked at the time when you had apartheid, and it cost Zimbabwe quite a bit in manpower and stuff to help you. We are asking you if you can help us. And yes, there have been a lot of initiatives that have failed. People have stolen the money. They've done things selfishly. I am not like that. I am different. We are setting up a government in exile to remove the regime back home. We will make announcements on this as and when it happens. And we ask, please, humbly, we ask for any South African who feels it within themselves to help us to help ourselves. We don't want handouts. We just want to remove that regime in Zimbabwe. And we will end up doing that. By hook or by crook, it will happen. But I just thought I needed to say this so that those who have joined the page from South Africa, who I really appreciate, thank you so much for liking the page. I just needed you to have some context. What I have mentioned are just a few things. There are things much more than that, but the video will be far too long. Thank you.
Zvorwadza zvinosirisa mhuri yeZimbabwe ndizvo zviri kuitika munyika medu. Isusu seZimu Media tiripo pakutsvagira nyaya. Tinouya nenyaya semaonero atinenge tadziita, hatina chatinowedzera kana kutapudza. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like, comment and share. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Kuitira next time patino upload a video, unoita wekutanga kusangana naro. Thank you so much for watching our video. For that, I am signing out.